Hi guys, welcome back to A Page in a Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. It is time for a September TBR. I can't remember the last time I was this excited about a TBR. I think more so in that it feels like we're getting into like the autumnal period. I think that is what is exciting me. I also think the fact that I have finished 2 fantasy books in like the last month, which means I can do my favourite thing in the world and read like autumnal fantasies. Like I just feel like the period from September through to December is it's just the best time of year to read a fantasy book. The fact that I feel like I can do that is bringing me some joy and making me quite excited. So I have overloaded this TBR with fantasy books. Is that smart? Probably not. But there is some degree of flexibility here. I'll kind of get more into that as we talk about the books specifically, but I feel like I can do this. This is like the last big push for me in terms of reading before I start my master's degree. I'm all enrolled now, so this does feel like September is the last month where I will be able to read at the rate that I have been reading. So if you guys like TBRs and wrap-ups, then do feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy, and I upload TBRs and wrap-ups every single month, so if you like this content there is no shortage of it here. And if you would like to see what I'm reading and how I'm reviewing it in real time so you don't have to wait for these monthly videos, then you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Page in Chapter, because I'm creative. And so without further ado, let's get on into the books that I want to read in September. Oh, how are we in September of 2022 already? Am I old, or is it normal for years to go this fast? So I have either 5 or 6 books on this TBR. I know that is not helpful. It's just going to depend on my pace and my mood. Maybe one of the books I will use like interchangeably. Maybe I will want to read all 6. I don't know, but I have 6 options and I'm aiming to read 5 of those 6 options. So there's like a little bit of degree of flexibility here. But this first book is a hard need to finish book because I just need to finish this series now. I honestly, as much as I want to read 5 books, if it takes me the whole month to read this book but I finish it, I will be okay with that, because this is the priority book of the month, and that is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. This is the 3rd and final book in the Poppy War trilogy, and I am scared. I am freaking terrified of what this book will do to me, but I don't think I can put it off any longer, and I think it's time to just get this series off my shoulders because I'm stressing about it. So the Poppy War trilogy is a war fantasy. It is a very, very detailed high fantasy. It is a very, very dark, gruesome, gory, really deals with the atrocities of war type of fantasy that is inspired by actual Chinese history in terms of the Opium Wars, and it follows our main character Rin as she, in the first book, is learning about war and war strategy in a military school setting, and then toward the end of that book we see her suddenly being thrust into a war and realising that it's not something that you can ever be taught. And so the past 2 books have dealt with this war that is going on, and I'm very intrigued to see how this 3rd one wraps up. I swear to God, I have seen so many videos of people like choking, crying over this book. I'm sure I will be one of them. Honestly, I'm a little bit excited for it. But to be honest, I just have a lot of series that I need to get finished. This will be quite an easy one. There's only 1 book left for me to read. I have that book right here in my possession. The weather's getting cooler now. It is pouring rain outside, and I don't know, with me going back to uni to study archaeology, even though it's not even close to being this type of archaeology, maybe it's time for a history inspired fantasy. And then the next book on this list is one that I imagine I will read quite early on, because I've been saving this book specifically for my September TBR, and it's reached a point where I'm a bit too excited about it to hold off, and that is House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This follows a magical boarding school setting, and our main character is sent to this magical boarding school to assess whether the children are really dangerous, and when he starts to grow feelings for the headmaster of this boarding school, he is torn between duty and his growing connection with the headmaster of his boarding school. I have read Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, and it is one of my favourite books of the year. That book blew me away. I think that might actually be my favourite book of the year, and so I'm very, very excited to get into this one. The whole boarding school setting just gave me a back to school feeling, so I've been saving it for back to school season. I'm really, really hoping the weather will be on my side. I don't think it will. I think we're going to have quite a warm and sunny September, but it is pouring rain at the moment of me filming this, so fingers crossed that we get some back to school autumnal weather, because I have planned my TBR for autumnal weather. This next book is kind of the optional one, and that I do not have it in my possession because it is a pre-order. Now, I don't know when exactly in September it comes out, so I'm not sure I'll even be able to get to this book, but the next one is Foul Lady Fortune by Gong. This is the first book in her spin-off duology, I believe, which follows Rosalind from These Violent Delights. It follows her story. This one is an As You Like It retelling rather than a Romeo and Juliet one, and this one is a fake dating trope between like spies, I believe. I absolutely loved the These Violent Delights duology. I pre-ordered this book the minute I finished that duology. I have been very, very excited about it. Gong has very quickly become one of my favourite authors, and I don't know for a fact I will be getting to this book in the month of September, but maybe I will. Maybe I will be so excited when it arrives that I will want to get into it. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go, but I wanted to mention it because I do think that it could be an option for me this month since it is arriving and since I have loved Gong's other works. And then since we're talking about pre-orders, we'll just talk about my most anticipated book of the year, and that is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a definitive must-read in September because I need to read it for my Taylor Jenkins Read Along. But essentially this book comes out on the 30th of August, so throughout the month of August I have been reading Taylor Jenkins Reid's other books on the build-up to the release of this book. Now, it may arrive on the 30th of August and I may sit and read and finish it in one go. I may be able to still get it in the month of August, but that is doubtful for two reasons. One being I have a job. That's not always possible for me to read a book in one sitting the minute that I get it. And two, I have heard some very scary tales through the internet, and that is about the fact that Waterstones are apparently like rejigging their warehouses and thus pre-orders are not coming out even close to on time. I will be very, very disappointed about this. I have pre-ordered a signed edition. I'm hoping it will also be a first edition because I've pre-ordered it, and if I do not get that book, it's genuinely going to tear my heart out because I've done all this work to film this Taylor Jenkins Readathon vlog and it could all just be ruined by delivery times. But maybe it will arrive late but still in September and I will have a chance to read it, and thus it will be going on my September TBR. If it arrives in the month of August or the month of September, it will be read because I have no self-control when it comes to Taylor Jenkins Reid books. So it all comes down to Waterstones on this one. And so this next book is one that I have picked up recently, and it is from an author that I have previously loved. And so when I saw that she had some other books out, I decided to pick this one up, and that is Under a Dancing Sky by Laura Wood. This is an absolutely stunning book, and if you recognise the branding of the book or the author, that is because I have previously adored A Sky Painted Gold by Laura Wood. She tends to write YA historical contemporary, well, historical contemporaries is an oxymoron. What would it, I don't know what it's called. They're like contemporary books, but they are set in like the 1920s or the 1930s. A Sky Painted Gold is a stunningly beautiful and cozy book about 1920s Cornwall, and this book is about Bea in 1930s England who goes and spends a summer in Italy and has some kind of don't fall in love with me agreement with a man that she meets in Italy. I just know that it will be beautiful. I'm very intrigued to see how Laura Wood handles a more summery atmosphere, so I'm very intrigued to see how this one fits. And then I've also seen that Laura Wood has another wintry book set in Cornwall as well, I believe, so I will be picking that one up later in the year, but just definitely want to get to this one before we lose all of the good weather and it doesn't make sense to read a summer in Italy style book. And then the final book that I have on my TBR for the month of September is a more romantic, light-hearted contemporary to break up some of that fantasy and to prevent a slump if I feel like one may be coming about. And that is XOXO by Axie Oh. I just am in love with the cover of this. My local bookstore had a copy. I don't always shop there because sometimes the selection isn't fantastic, but if I can shop at my local instead of a Waterstones, then I like to pop in every now and again. The people that work there are so lovely. And they had this and I just had to pick it up because I have never been tempted by this book when I saw it online, but when I saw the cover in person, it's just beautiful. Oh my god. So this is a YA contemporary following our main character Jenny, and she meets a boy and they have like one fantastic night together, and then when her and her family have to move to South Korea, she finds this boy again in South Korea and discovers that he is part of a really big K-pop band. So I'm not really into K-pop, it's not my thing at all, but I am always here for a famous times non-famous romantic situation. I'm sorry, my fanfic reading heart is so happy. I don't know, I just was really excited about this book, even though I don't listen to K-pop and have no interest in K-pop at all. But this just seems like such a fun book. It was partly a cover by, partly the fact that I love fanfiction by, and I just think this will be such a fun, fast read. And you can't really go wrong. It does also follow Jenny at an elite arts academy in South Korea, so it's kind of back to school-y. It kind of fits the theme of the month. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to going into this one. If I don't get to it, I won't be like yelling at myself over it, but I would like to get to it. I think it should be quite an easy one to get to, and yeah, I just think that I will need something to really break up some of these heavy fantasies. This would probably be a fantastic palette cleanser for when I finish The Burning God. So, you know, let's pray I finish that, and let's pray that this actually boosts my mood after reading it. And so here we have my September TBR plus the 2 that are yet to arrive. I am just so excited about this month. I am excited to go back to uni. I am excited that hopefully, fingers crossed, temperatures will start coming down. I am excited that pumpkin spice is back. I'm excited that I'm feeling fantasy vibes again and wanting to pick up fantasy books and actually finishing those books when I do pick them up. Everything is just starting to go my way. I am an autumn girly and things are starting to right themselves again. So I am just so excited about this month, and I'm really excited to bring you guys along with me in various vlogs and things throughout the month, and hopefully I enjoy every single one of these books. I have really high hopes for them. So if you guys liked this video and you would like to see more, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload twice a week on a Wednesday and a Friday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. And now I have to go because my camera is overheating and it's gonna turn off, but I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you're enjoying everything that you are reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future, and I will see you next week for my next video. Bye guys.